Success begins in the mind. Success is a state of mind. If you want success, start thinking of yourself as a success. Your attitude is your window to the world. Better keep yourself clean and bright. You are the window through which you must see the world. It was just about 1 p.m. and Sarah was getting hungry. She had put in a few productive hours of work at her desk and decided to get a bite to eat at a nearby coffee shop. A few minutes later, Sam walked into the coffee shop. He too was on his lunch break. Sam sat down at a table a few feet away from Sarah. The same waitress served Sarah and Sam that afternoon. Each customer waited about the same amount of time before the waitress took the order. Each of them received their meal around the same time. Each of them was served well prepared, wholesome food, and each waited the same amount of time for the waitress to deliver the check. But that's where the similarities ended. Sarah had walked into the coffee shop with a smile, a spring in her step, and a very positive outlook on the world. It was plain for everyone to see. Her body language and her posture reflected her optimism. Sarah had a delightful lunch, exchanged some pleasant conversation with the waitress, and went back to work with a recharged battery. Sam, on the other hand, had entered the coffee shop with a scowl on his face. He looked like he would been sucking on sour pickles all morning. He was hunched over and tense. His body language cried out, "Stay away from me." He was annoyed when the waitress did not take his order immediately. He was annoyed at how long it took his meal to arrive. He complained about the food and was furious when he did not get his check right away. Why did Sarah and Sam have such different experiences in the coffee shop? Remember that each was treated in exactly the same way. It comes down to this: Sarah sees the world with a positive attitude, Sam sees the world with a negative attitude. Attitudes are a secret power working 24 hours a day for good or bad. A definition of attitude. Think of your attitude as the mental filter through which you experience the world. Some people see the world through the filter of optimism, the glass being half full, while others see life through a filter of pessimism, the glass being half empty. Let me give you some examples to explain the difference between a positive attitude and a negative attitude. The person with the negative attitude thinks, "I can't." The person with the positive attitude thinks, "I can." The person with the negative attitude dwells on problems. The person with the positive attitude concentrates on solutions. The person with the negative attitude finds fault with others. The person with the positive attitude looks for the good in others. The person with the negative attitude focuses on what's missing. The person with the positive attitude counts his or her blessings. The person with the negative attitude sees limitations. The person with a positive attitude sees possibilities. I could go on and on with examples, but I'm sure you get the idea. When I talk to audiences about attitude, I often like to use word pictures. They help people to understand and remember what I said. Let me paint this picture for you. Your attitude is your window to the world. Everyone starts with a clean mental window. Let's take a few moments to discuss why I say that your attitude is your window to the world. We all start out in life with a good attitude, or should I say, a clean mental window. Just watch young children. They are always laughing and giggling. They have a sunny disposition. They love to explore new things. Consider the attitude of a child who's learning to walk. When he stumbles and falls down, what does he do? I'll tell you what he doesn't do. He doesn't frown or blame the carpet. He doesn't point fingers at his mother or father for giving him lousy instructions. He doesn't quit. Oh no. He smiles, gets up again, and makes another attempt, and another. He keeps going for weeks and weeks with a positive attitude until he gets it right. His window is squeaky clean and he feels like he can conquer the world. But as you know, there comes a point where life starts throwing some dirt at your windows. And here's what happens. Our windows get splattered by criticism from parents and teachers. Our windows get smudged by ridicule from peers. Our windows get smeared by rejection. Our windows get soiled by disappointments. Our windows get clouded by doubt. The problem is the dirt keeps building up, and all too many people do nothing about it. They continue to go through life with a filthy window. They lose their enthusiasm. They get frustrated and depressed. And most tragically, they give up on their dreams, all because they failed to clean their attitude window. That's the road I was traveling down. I had a dirty window when I was an attorney, and the longer I stayed in the field, the filthier my window got. I saw no possibilities. How could I? My window was splattered with the mud of negativity. But then, by the grace of God, I learned that all I had to do was clean off my window. I had to improve my attitude so I could see the world clearly again. After I removed the grime from my window, a whole new world opened up for me. The frustration and depression lifted. I had more confidence. For the first time in many years, I could see the magnificent possibilities that life had to offer, and I was able to make a career transition and do work that I absolutely love. When you really think about it, I'm in the business of helping people to clean off their windows to get a better attitude. Do you see what I mean when I say that attitude is your window to the world? Can you appreciate how your attitude affects the way you see everything in your life? More importantly, are you beginning to see those areas where your windows needs to be washed? You can't always control circumstances, but you can control your own thoughts. It's your job to keep your window clean. Sure, I can give you a little encouragement, and other people can encourage you too, but in the end, nobody else can do it for you. You see, you always have a choice. You can leave the filth on your window and look at life through a smeared glass, but there are consequences to the approach, and they are not very pretty. You will go through life negative and frustrated. You will be unhappy. You will achieve only a fraction of what you are capable of achieving. There's a better way. When you choose to take out your squeegee and clean your window, life will be brighter and sunnier. You will be healthier and happier. You will set some ambitious goal and begin to achieve them. Your dreams will come alive again. Still doubting whether you really have the power to change your attitude? Perhaps you are thinking, Jeff, that's easy for you to say. Your attitude would not be so good if you had my problems. Granted, some really devastating things may have happened to you. You may have endured much suffering. Perhaps you are going through some tough times right now. But even under the worst circumstances, I still contend that you have the power to choose your attitude. I'm not saying it's easy, but the fact remains the choice is yours. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so, says William Shakespeare. Let me tell you about a man who is well qualified to speak on the subject of attitude. His name is Dr. Viktor Frankl, and he went through hell on earth and managed not only to survive but to inspire millions of people. You see, Viktor Frankl endured years of horror as a prisoner in the Nazi death camps. To make matters worse, his father, mother, brother, and his wife died in camps or were killed in gas chambers. Every day, Frankel and the other prisoners suffered from hunger, cold, and brutality. Can a person control his or her attitude in a situation like that? Here's what Dr. Frankel had to say about the importance of attitude in his best selling book, man's search for meaning. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way, even though conditions such as lack of sleep, insufficient food, and various mental stresses may suggest that the inmates were bound to react in certain ways, in the final analysis, it becomes clear that the sort of person the prisoner became was the result of an inner decision and not the result of camp influences alone. Now, if Doctor Frankl and the other prisoners had the ability to choose their attitudes in the face of such unspeakable suffering, who are we to claim that we cannot take control of our attitudes? As Hugh Downs has said, a happy person is not a person in a certain set of circumstances, but rather a person with a certain set of attitudes. That's the powerful statement, and it's the truth. When it's all said and done, you and you alone control your attitude. Attitude and success. Okay, let's say you clean off your window and develop a positive attitude. You are smiling. You sit home and think positive thoughts. Will that alone lead you to outrageous success and the realization of your fondest dreams? No, it won't. Because there's more to success than just having a great attitude. To maximize your potential and yet achieve your goals, you need to apply certain time honored principles of success that have helped millions of people to achieve extraordinary results. And they will do the same for you. In the next 11 lessons of this book, I will be taking you through these success principles step by step. You will learn about comforting your fears, overcoming adversity, harnessing the power of commitment, and much, much more. You will get the information and inspiration you need to start living the life you have always dreamed about. Still, you may be wondering, what do these success principles have to do with attitude? In a word, everything. That's why I say attitude is everything. Without a positive attitude, you can't activate the other principles. Your success in life begins and ends with your attitude. It's only when you clean your attitude window that the other success principles can shine through. If your window is smudged, only a fraction of the light of these principles can get through. Your success is limited or even blocked. But when you learn to keep your attitude window clear, the light comes pouring in and you can use these empowering principles to earn more money, have more satisfying relationships, increase your spiritual awareness, and reach your full potential. When you combine a positive attitude with the other success principles, you become unstoppable. Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. What's the key to success? Why do some people succeed while others fail? Earl Nightingale, the great success writer, broadcaster, and speaker, addressed this issue in his famous recorded message entitled The Strangest Secret. In this program, he identified the key to success in just 6 words. Of course, he went on to explain it in more detail, but the foundation of his success secret is only 6 words. You would like to know the 6 words, wouldn't you? Well, before I tell you the key to success, you might be surprised to learn that the same 6 words are also the key to failure. Are you still ready for the key to success? Here it is. We become what we think about. On a gut level, does that make sense for you? In his research on the subject, Nightingale found that all of the great writers, philosophers, and religious leaders have agreed that our thoughts determine our actions. Here are the observations of a few great thinkers on this very point. Napoleon Hill said, what the mind can conceive, can believe, the mind can achieve. The Bible contains numerous references to thinking, including this: according to your faith, be it unto you. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. If you can believe, all things are possible. Ralph Waldo Emerson put it in this way: a man is what he thinks about all day long. Robert Collier offered this insight: there is nothing on earth you cannot have, once you have mentally accepted the fact that you can have it. And finally, there are the well known words of Henry Ford, who said, whether you think you can or think you cannot, you are right. How this principle works? Let's examine this concept a little further, that we become what we think about. Here's how it works. If you constantly think about a particular goal, then you will take steps to move towards that goal. Let's say that someone think he is capable of earning $30,000 per year. Like a human magnet, Fred will attract those employment opportunities that will move him in that direction. As long as Fred clings to that thought, he will reach his goal of earning $30,000 per year. Now, what if Fred begins to think, hey, I would like to earn more money to meet the growing needs of my family. I want to earn $50,000. Will Fred's income increase? It depends. Just how strong is Fred's belief that he can earn 50,000? It's quite possible that Fred would like to earn 50,000, but he doesn't believe that he's really capable of earning that amount. In that case, Fred will not reach his income goal of $50,000. If, on the other hand, Fred continuously thinking about earning the higher income and believes in his ability to achieve that goal, he will, in fact, increase his income to $50,000. As you might expect, this concept is not limited to monetary goals. Suppose you are shooting a round of 95 on the golf course right now. By concentrating on bringing that score down to 85 and by truly believing in your ability to do so, you will begin to take steps to move towards that goal. You may take lessons, you may practice more, but in the end, you will bring your score down and reach your objectives. Dominant thoughts rule the day. The idea that we become what we think about has also been expressed as the law of dominant thought. This means that there is a power within each of us that propels us in the direction of our current dominant thoughts. The key word here is dominant. You can't expect positive results when you spend 10 seconds a day thinking positively and the remaining 16 waking hours dwelling on negative outcomes. Here's the bottom line: a little positive thinking doesn't produce positive results. Just like a little bit of a diet doesn't work. It's like trying to lose weight by eating a healthy, low calorie breakfast and then pigging out on cake and ice cream for the rest of the day. The same is true of exercise. You can't do a few minutes of exercise once a week and expect to be physically fit. Look at positive thinking in the same way. A little bit just doesn't get the job done. Instead, you must take control of your mental activity and think positively throughout each and every day until it becomes a habit. Remember, it has to be your dominant thought pattern. Take a moment to consider your dominant thoughts in the major areas of your life. Are they serving you or holding you back? Attitude adjustment leads to real estate ownership. Let me share a personal example to demonstrate the power of our thoughts. In the 1970s and early 1980s, I observed many people in my area who were making a lot of money by purchasing homes for investment purposes and renting them out. The homes were appreciating in value considerably each year. Sure, there were the usual headaches of having to deal with tenant problems, but the return these investments were getting was incredible. Well, I kept thinking that I should start buying some investment homes, but I never took any action because I continued to doubt myself. My thinking was dominated by all of the things that could go wrong. Simply put, I had a lousy attitude, and with a negative attitude, is it any wonder that I never took the first step? However, after I started reading books and listening to tapes on the power of attitude and belief, I decided to change my attitude about real estate investment. In the summer of 1986, I decided that before the end of the year, I would purchase two investment homes. This time, I wasn't going to allow any negative thoughts to creep into my mind. For 6 months, I focused my thinking on one thing: owning two investment homes. I wrote down my goals several times each day and referred to them often. I believed at the deepest level of my being that I would own two homes before the end of the year. In the evening and on weekends, I went with real estate agents to look at homes. I personally visited about 100 homes and researched hundreds of others. In the fall of 1986, I purchased an investment property. What a great feeling of accomplishment to do something what I wouldn't allow myself to do before. But I still had work to do. And on December 29, just 2 days before the end of the year, I reached my goal and bought the second investment home. As I took back at why I was able to purchase the real estate in 1986 while I couldn't do it in the years before then, the answer is clear. In 1986, I believed that I could do it. I had an unshakable positive attitude that propelled me forward to reach my goal. This entire experience was tremendously valuable to me. In fact, it was priceless because it taught me that you can achieve your goal when you believe in yourself and keep your thoughts focused on the positive. Attitude versus action. I have been talking a lot about thinking, and you might be wondering where action fits into this process. It's true that you don't get results without action, but recognize that thought precedes action. I always knew that actions that I would have to take to buy those investment properties, contact realtors, visit properties, review newspaper listings, and so on. But I never took the first step as long as I had a negative attitude. The instant I changed my attitude, I felt compelled to take action, and nothing was going to stop me. That's why a positive belief system is the starting point for the achievement of any goal. When your dominant belief is that you can achieve your goal, you begin taking the actions necessary to move in that direction. Your circumstances reflect what you have been thinking about. Face this fact: your beliefs brought you to where you are today, and your thinking from this point forward will take you to where you will be in the future. In fact, your results in every area of your life reflect your deeply held thoughts about yourself. Consider your finances. What are your beliefs in this area? Are you constantly thinking about not having enough money? Dwell on that thought and you block the flow of money to you. And then there's a matter of relationships. If you think that you don't deserve much, you attract friends and partners into your life who won't treat you very well. I will bet you know someone who always seems to go out with the wrong person. In fact, the last 29 people they have gone out with were wrong for them. Do you think this is a mere coincidence? Oh no, there is a deeply held belief inside that individual that attracts these people into his or her life. And whether we are talking about finances, relationships, or careers, the fact remains same. If your thoughts don't change, your results won't change. Change your thinking. Fortunately, there's exciting news. You can change your thoughts, thereby changing your results. Here's how. For starters, become aware of what you say to yourself all day. Each of us has an internal voice. In other words, we talk to ourselves. Too often, however, what we say is negative, critical, and self limiting. Perhaps you find yourself thinking, I can't do this, or I always mess things up. These thoughts work against you. Instead, repeat to yourself that you can and will accomplish your goal. What we sincerely believe regarding ourselves is true for us. As we will discuss more fully in part 2 of this book, it's also important to become aware of the words you use on a regular basis. For example, do you put yourself down or talk about the things you could never have or achieve? Your mind hears every word you speak, and like a magnet, you will ultimately attract the events and circumstances that correspond to your dominant beliefs. So make sure you use positive words about yourself and your goals. Repetition is the key. Here are two more action steps to help you become more positive and get the results you want. Step 1. Every day read some positive, uplifting literature. Find 15 to 30 minutes in the morning to do this. And it's also a good idea to do some reading right before bed. There are literally thousands of motivational books and articles to choose from. Read whatever speaks to you. It could be the Bible or other spiritual material, or perhaps inspiring biographies. You will find a wide selection of success books in the psychology and self improvement section of any bookstore or library. So check them out. Step 2. Every day listen to motivational audio programs. You can listen to them in your car while commuting, at your home, or during your exercise routine. The key is repetition. When you hear these messages over and over, they become part of you, and you begin to implement them to improve your life. They will get you thinking about your attitude and other success principles on a daily basis. Of course, audio programs are not a substitute for action. It's up to you to put these ideas to work. So, if you read something positive and listen to motivational audio programs every day, it will make a phenomenal difference in your life. I can tell you from personal experience that these techniques work if you have the disciplines to stick with them. The lessons I have learned in this: change your thinking and you change your life. You will become what you think about. Nobody succeeds beyond his or her wildest expectations unless he or she begins with some wild expectations. Before concluding, I would like to clarify a few things about positive thinking and the power of our thoughts. First of all, positive thinking doesn't mean that you will achieve your goals overnight. It's not as if you start thinking about making more money and the next morning you wake up and find a stack of dollar bills at your bedside. Not by a long shot. Success requires effort, commitment, and patience. And secondly, positive thinking doesn't mean you won't have any more problems. Believe me, you will have plenty of setbacks along the way. However, if you continue to believe in yourself, take action, and persist, you will overcome those obstacles. Remember, you are constantly moving in the direction of your dominant thoughts. Everything you achieve in your lifetime flows from your thoughts and beliefs. Negative thinking yields negative results, and positive thinking produces positive results. Keep your attitude window clean and bright so that the positive thoughts can come shining through. It simply makes no sense to think negative thoughts unless you want to get negative results. And I know you don't want that to happen. So from this point forward, choose your thoughts wisely and use these powerful principles to get fantastic results in your life.